Welcome to the show from the Radisson Blu Hotel. Now, some very recent and disturbing developments involving a dangerous online game got parents the world over worried about their adolescent children. Now, granted, the peculiar teenage years are a challenge for both parent and for child. And when you involve technology, it doesn't make that experience any easier. So we decided, why not invite some teens to come and be honest and candid about their experiences in this age group and give us insights into their world. Later on in the show, we have a parent, a mentor, and a counselor weighing in. So let's get the conversation started and meet them now. Pauline Mwangi is a digital branding and marketing professional and mom to a preteen and teenager. Her passion is nurturing digital-savvy young people to take advantage of the endless opportunities available to them in the digital space. Lydia Ngwiri is a high school teacher and a counselor dealing with teenagers and young adults. An author of 4 books that cover topics ranging from parenting to understanding adolescence, the mother of 4 also dedicates her time to speaking with different groups in churches, schools, and other organizations on mentoring the next generation. Arnold Ndoto is a 27-year-old youth pastor at Karura Community Chapel. Having held various leadership roles among the youth over the last 14 years, Arnold says he is on a mission to build and establish families. Remember, hashtag Victoria's Lounge is how you can chime into the conversation on social media as usual. This is a bit of a different setup than our usual shows. We're talking to the teens. This is their time to speak out and talk about a lot of the things that they're going through at this time of their lives in this age group. So for that reason, we have decided to keep the room a bit dark to conceal their identity slightly. We'll also distort their voices, but I really want to get a sense of what teens go through here in Kenya at this point in their lives. Thank you all for joining me. Now, I really want to kind of get a sense of what it's like. I'll put this question out first. What matters the most to you and your peers at this age group? Anyone can take that.
What matters the most is how other people perceive us. As much as we tend to say we don't care about how people take us, we actually care a lot about how our parents view us, how our friends view us, how our teachers in school view us as a person.
That's interesting, because what kind of perceptions or views do you think people have of teens today? Because you're saying, you know, they're concerned about perception.
They tend to say we are a generation of spoiled kids, that we tend to depend mostly on our parents' money, and that we don't tend to focus on school because we think we have our foundation laid out for us, which it's not the case, according to me as a teen. That's not the case.
Right, right. So what would you want them to see?
What I'd love them to say is like, acknowledge the fact that we grown-up kids, we can depend on ourselves and we're responsible enough to lay our foundations for ourselves and give us a positive view, and rather than give us a negative view to the society, which makes us feel like unwanted or unappreciated of the little efforts we try to make.
So you want to be trusted more, really is what I'm hearing.
Yes, give us trust more than you give us freedom.
Interesting. Anyone else who shares that view?
I think generally is that we are responsible and we need their trust, we don't need to be pushed away. We need to be accepted.
Do you find that parents put an effort to find out what you care about at this age, or is it more you're being told or you're misunderstood?
More of being misunderstood, more of a blame game between one parent and the other one, which leads to a fracas, which leads to family turn-downs, which you're not expecting because of you. So at the end, you're going to feel unwanted. At the end, you're going to run away, which is not good. So we just want them to feel like, appreciate us, come to a mutual understanding between you two, say this is our kid, let us support him or her the way he or she is.
Okay, that's interesting. You brought up a blame game. So sometimes parents could say, the child has ended up like this because of you. So what are some things that would probably cause that kind of confrontation between parents, for instance? Maybe something that you've done, or maybe a certain lifestyle that you've taken up, something that you've been doing that they're not really approving of. What would cause that kind of confrontation?
For instance, I have a story. This friend of mine, a parent tells her, go study beauty.
Okay.
But she doesn't want to study beauty. She want to do air ticketing, but the dad doesn't want her to do air ticketing. So she tells her, if you don't want to do air ticketing, you're going to do beauty, and I'm going to pay the school fees for you. So the kid becomes like resistant to the father, but the mother is supporting. So the father is like turning against the mother. Your kid is against me. You've built up a team to gang against me. So that's what I'm saying. It's a blame game. So the father is against the family.
Okay. So a lot of times it has to do also with maybe parents wanting you to take a certain path that you feel, but I don't feel like I'm maybe talented or gifted in that area. This is what I want to do. How many of you kind of go through that, just by a show of hands? You want to follow your dreams, but mom and dad are paying fees. You're still living under their roof. So it's not necessarily a democracy. How do you kind of convince them that it's okay to allow me to follow my dreams?
Our parents are African, so they want to see.
Yeah, like that.
They actually want to see. Like, if I'm gonna let you use this path, what are you gonna, as in, what fruits will it bear for you?
Right.
Will it bring something good into your life or something bad into your life? So most teenagers tend to do it in secret until they see the fruits. Is when we approach the parents and tell them, this is what I've been doing and this is what it has brought to me in my life. Yes.
Interesting. I see a hand up back there. Yes.
I'd say that parents are scared. Some parents make you want to live their dream, like a dream that they didn't achieve. So they expect the child to achieve the dream for them, or they're just scared that you'll mess up.
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting point. So they're trying to live vicariously through you. Because I couldn't, at least for me, let my dream be fulfilled through you. And you can understand for some parents, they're concerned. They also want to see the best for you. But in terms of maybe you not pursuing your dreams, what about what you're going through emotionally? What's going on inside mentally? Because you're also transitioning. You're not a child anymore. Not quite an independent adult, but you have hopes and dreams, clearly. You have aspirations. There's a person inside that you want to beat, but you're struggling. You have influences, friends, media. What's going through your minds through this time as you're trying to figure out, who am I?
A lot is going through. At some point, you're like, this is who I am, but will they accept me for who I am? We go through an emotional struggle within. During the day, you're with your friends, you're happy, you're smiling, but inside you're like, if I tell them this is what I want to do, if I tell them this is who I am, will they accept me? Will they take me for who I am? We are going through a lot. As parents, they will think that just because the other one has looking for the money, hustling their way out, they don't think that we also go through. It reaches a certain point of life as a teenager, you want to feel of providing for yourself the little things. Like, I'm a girl, if I want to go to the salon, I want to feel that I can make my own little money and actually go without asking. We have that need to provide for ourselves the little things and not always just going back to our parents. And I don't think they understand that, because they'll be like, you're going to get a job when you do your degree. Go look for a job. I won't have any problem with you. But for now, you have to study.
Right. What about, because I remember we were having a conversation with you earlier about this, something that you wanted to do that people felt, oh, that's not natural.
I wanted to do makeup because when I cleared out of high school, I did culinary arts. Then it was something I was so passionate about because of my friends. Then later on, it faded out. I went to university, wanted to do media studies, but it was not kind of my thing. So when I went for my first year, when I was joining, I had makeup on, and all my friends were actually ladies, and I actually did their makeup. So all the men were like, okay, he's a guy, he's wearing makeup. And actually, he did it to the other ladies. So everybody was not my friend. So with due time, people started accepting me for who I am.
When it comes to peer pressure influencing you, how much of a factor is it at this age? I know that's probably like a very obvious question, but how much of a role does peer pressure play in who you are and the decisions that you do make?
I can say as a teen, peer pressure has been sunk so long. Earlier, like from the back in the days when we were in our Form 1s, when we cleared high school, it has become kind of monotonous to our ears. So we tried like to break it down and say like, let this chorus change from peer pressure to what I want. Let my desire drive me. Let my passion drive me to what I want to be. So if it's peer pressure, like he said, he did what did you do?
Culinary, okay.
Because of his friends, of which it later faded away. You see? So that is not sort of something should follow. Do not follow peer pressure. Follow your desire, your passion in life.
All right, anyone else on that? Yeah, go ahead.
Mostly for me, it's about peer pressure. To me, it's different.
Uh-huh.
First, I wanted to do videography, but I told my father, he said, no, you must do design. Right now, I'm doing wall art. So when I got a scholarship from Canon Pictures of 6 months, he appreciated it. But due to his friends, he is more conservative. Due to his friends, he forced me to go to design again.
Right.
The peer pressure, it's two ways. There's the old peer pressure, the old people mostly.
The old people?
Yeah, the old people.
Okay.
My dad. So that's different.
Uh-huh.
He's forced by his friends to force me to do design. I like it, but it's not something I love.
So, and what about the peer pressure now from the people who are your age group?
For my age group, it's about the Instagrammers. I'm a rapper. Let's say, for me, when I introduce to my father, when he's with his friends, he doesn't want me around because of my hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wants me to cut it short.
How does that make you feel, that you feel your dad doesn't want you around, at least his?
There's lack of communication between me and him. Yeah.
So that has put a strain on your relationship with him?
Yeah.
You'd want him to accept you really for who you are?
Yeah.
Okay. And on that note, let's take a short break. A lot coming out in this first part of the conversation. When we come back, we'll be talking about social media and just media in general and what influence it's having on the teens today. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Victoria's Lounge. We're still here with the teens. We're getting into social media. And it's an area that really, at least from our observations, has influenced a lot in terms of how this generation interacts with each other. Do you find, you guys, this time round that there's less face-to-face interaction? People are more comfortable with screen time and talking to each other on social media. What do you find? What's your observation, at least in your generation?
Social media is like an outlet for us to feel like we actually fit in. Sometimes you feel like you're not accepted even at home or at school. So when you're with you and your screen, the person on the other side doesn't know you. So it feels like I actually have somewhere you belong, which is not the case.
Right.
You actually have that feeling and it satisfies you in a way.
So you're creating this image or even this person that's not really you even. You have the opportunity to create anyone on social media, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
People in social media can look at my page and like, she's really popular. Of the case, I am not. No one knows me in school. You'll be like, who's Chella? Who is this? You know? Yeah.
What do young people do to be able to get that popularity or fame on social media? Like, what lengths do they go to? And I'll give an example, because you remember the rapper Bow Wow. Did you hear what he did? He put up a picture of a private jet saying, oh, I'm going off to such and such. And then someone calls him out on Twitter and says, this guy is on my flight. In coach, no less. He's not on a private jet. So everyone kind of started rattling on him and said, oh, why are you creating this image that really isn't you? So what do young people do to actually kind of show and put out this image that isn't real? What lengths would they go to?
Teens go extra miles to get what they want. For instance, you'll find like a situation for ladies, using an example, ladies will pick like, in a week they have 7 days. They choose one good day. They go in all malls in the town They take all photos, and then each day they'll have to post a photo representing that mall.
Yeah.
Whereas he's just at home, she's busy there washing her utensils, nobody cares. So they will go an extra mile to paint an image that is not theirs.
Both genders, they go to an extent whereby they post explicit photos, like when they're naked, when they're half naked, posting videos that are, they're explicit, like for the younger generation, something that they should not be doing.
Okay, so why would young ladies do that or involve themselves in such activity?
Okay, nowadays, like for most ladies, they prefer sending nudes mostly to the whites or to the other Africans so that they can be given money, or so that they can be famous. And that's the cause of why most of the youth they are not integrity. They don't have any integrity in them nowadays.
Mostly when I hit 18, I went mostly to clubs and posted photos of me at Instagram to get the likes.
So it's all about the likes.
It's about the likes. Everything's about the likes.
So you're really concerned about the life and the image that's been portrayed on social media than your own happiness.
It's an influence from the media itself. For instance, some shows which are run on media, although they run through like off-peak hours, the influencers, we might pretend to be sleeping, but our phones have the digital apps. We go to bed and we're going to watch them. So we're going to try and tend to what they are doing to us.
So let me ask, what are you guys watching? What in the media, TV, music videos, what are you watching that really kind of is influencing that? What music are you listening to, and what is it telling?
Mostly listen to hip-hop music. And something about hip-hop music is that they are dirty. Hip-hop music is dirty. So that influences them to post the nude pics because they see the videos from the YouTube.
Are more teens involving or engaging themselves in sex, for instance?
Yeah, in our generation, actually, that's what's happening, because most people don't care about relationship. Okay, most of the people don't care about relationship
so
as much. It's not that serious. It's not that serious. Yeah, it's just because of the peer pressure.
Okay.
Everyone is in a relationship, so you also want to be in a relationship, and that's what makes them eventually just engage in like sex and everything, because for them, actually, most of the girls don't care even about getting STDs or any other thing like diseases and everything. What they care most about this generation is getting pregnant instead of thinking of the bigger picture.
Teenagers and sex. You remember earlier on last year, government had introduced some condoms in primary school. What does that show? Like teenagers from the age of 10, they already know what is sex.
Right.
Just earlier this year, they wanted to introduce nannies in high schools. What does that promote? That shows even the government works hand in hand to promote teenagers in immorality of sex. So we don't have to be blamed all on ourselves.
So you're saying that they're creating an environment that's allowing such behavior to come?
I would say they're not creating an environment, but they're acting in a manner that is promoting and mostly ignoring our urge to move to the positive sides.
Lastly, let me ask this one, because it also has to do with a very important person in your life, with your parents. And that relationship is extremely crucial and critical in how you end up. You need to be able to have a healthy relationship with your parents. And I know as teens you'd want that. And a lot of times I'll hear teens saying, I don't know how to talk to my parents. They will blow up on me if I even tell them what's happening in my life. What would you ideally want them to do? How to create that environment or that comfort so you can actually talk to them about what you're going through?
First, we would like them to actually be there. You find, like, when I go to school, I come back, you might even find your parents have not yet arrived. They're still in work. And then you go to bed, you sleep. In the morning, you wake up early, no one has woken up. You can even finish a whole week without actually seeing your parents. So how am I supposed to talk to someone who has been there my whole life, but I feel like she or he is not actually there? Most teenagers have friends as family. Friends who actually know more about them. They replace the parents who actually know. You might find, like, we have best friends. You might find that your best friend actually knows a lot about you than your mother or your father. Yes.
So would you say that this point in your life is where you need your parents the most?
Yes.
Yes. All the time?
All the time.
Okay.
If you're not there, if you're busy at work, at least call once in a day and be like, hi, how are you doing? How is your day? And everything.
It's so funny because the perception is the parents feel like I'm bothering you or I'm over monitoring when I do that.
It's because they're not actually there to ask us what they want. They give us this perspective of what they think we are. A parent would be like, this is my kid, she likes staying alone. But have you actually come and asked me, how do you like things to be between us? Like, what kind of relationship do you want us to grow together?
Okay.
My dad mostly, it's about fear in our family. He instills fear, I know him. So it's about fear. His motto, a motto of our family is never fail. So when my sister failed in life, she got pregnant. I saw what he did to her. So I was like, nah.
So you avoid doing the wrong thing out of fear.
Yeah, fear. It's not about respect anymore. It's about fear.
Anyone else before you get into our... Yes, go ahead.
I'll say that, like an advice to parents, they should stop comparing their children with other children, or what they hear from other children, what they see on TV. They need to take caution, yes, but sometimes don't bring it out so much. And whenever your child tells you I'm interested in this and this, instead of acting so rampant on it, you get so furious, you just take a breath and think about it before you answer.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is you guys want to be heard. Yes. You want to be heard and considered. All right, great insights. Let's take a short break here in Victoria's Lounge. When we come back, we'll be talking to the adults. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Victoria's Lounge. We're a bit more lit in this part of the show. We can see everyone's faces. But this is the part where we really get to understand from the parents, the mentors side, the adult side, of how we engage in a healthy way with our young people. During the break, you were just saying, Pauline, that social media technology is not going away. So we need to find a way of using it in a positive way to engage. So from your observations, and you're also a parent of a teen, what have you seen is the best way to engage them in this time?
First of all, we have to stop demonizing social media. I hear parents talking about you can do Facebook, you can do Twitter, you can do Instagram, and half the time I'm thinking, okay, which generation are you raising again?
Right.
Because this is where they are at. That's the space they are in. And we need to embrace it. We need to stop fighting it.
Right.
Again, stop going crazy in it. Because as parents, again, some of us are getting too carried away. Okay, and they are learning from us. Some of them avoid the spaces where we are in because then we get wild.
Wow.
Okay, but yeah, it's a space that we can use to engage with them positively. Yeah, but it's also a space that they are also abusing, and especially when it comes to WhatsApp.
Right, right.
But it's not something that we cannot overcome, only if we partner with them.
Okay. Yeah. I like that, partner with them. And Arnold, you sit on the end of they're running from mommy and daddy, and it's like, please, I need to talk to you because they're not understanding. From your interactions with them, what have you seen and observed?
Wow. Social media is, when they're in it, it's part of life. There are times I'm getting introduced to other apps that I didn't know existed.
Yeah,
I was like, this one also, wow, okay. And wow.
They're developing like every day, something's like coming up.
In fact, I keep getting invited to quite a number of them, and there was a moment where I had to stop myself and say, okay, Arnold, you can't get into everything, you just have to take a pause.
Right.
But there is that reality that they're looking for something, they're searching for something as they continue to get into different apps. At this particular age, this is what is their technology. And if, as parents, as teenagers can get to begin to understand one another on those levels, then we can begin to move forward slowly but surely.
And you know, Lydia, Arnold mentioned something very important, which is them understanding each other, parent and child. And we were talking a bit earlier on about how parenting styles really haven't changed through generations, and we're employing the same kind of tactics that how you're raised with your parents to the generation now. And what have you observed and seen in that?
Things have changed. As we had only a radio that was only recent to during news. We were on Gmail. Even TV was not there. And the whole society was structured in a way that a child was brought up by everybody. Yes. You made a mistake in the village, you are beaten by the next mother before you are taken to your mother, and she'll beat you. Right. And your father will come and add on top of that.
So it is a succession of beatings.
Yes. And that society was close-knit in a way that a child would not get lost because there's somebody to pull back that child and tell the child this is wrong. But today it's different because I am bringing up my children either alone as a single mother or a single father, or a father and a mother together. We are bringing up our children, the two of us. There is nobody else to help us. Right. Unfortunately, where the problem is that even as we are not there. So the child is being brought up by somebody else on our behalf. And that child that I bonded with when I was breastfeeding, after I've gone back to work, is no longer my child. So we do not know each other. The father does not know the child because he is also coming late. We are all over looking for money and doing very many other things and doing job. So this child is brought up by somebody else who is teaching their culture, not our culture. Right. And therefore, I have no control over this child. And because I'm not there, I'm buying the child with all the gadgets. They are okay, but we need to know how to train the children, how to use them. But we cannot start when they are teens.
Very true.
We have to start when the child is small. Unfortunately, we are waking up when something has happened. Right. When a teen has killed himself, that is when we are all over. So we need to come up with ways and means of, do we put rules and regulations? Yes. How are they going to be followed? Right. Who is going to make sure that they are followed and what is happening? Right. That's what we need as parents.
That very delicate balance of mentoring and also monitoring and disciplining your child. You know, we heard some of the teens in the first part of the show talking about their relationship being based on fear with their parents. So how do you strike that balance? And it's difficult, yes, but how do we strike that balance?
There is what we call the 414 window in Sunday school, where the formative years of a child are between the ages of 4, because that's when they start going to school, to the ages of 14, 13, 14, when they are actually going out into high school, actually leaving the nest, because I call it leaving the nest at that level, because they leave the nest and they never come back the same. So you have to be able to continue with the relationship built at the breast, all the way. You cannot afford to break that. So parents have to reprioritize their lives. That anything you did not chase before this child came, put it on hold until this child is 14 years. As the parent, I need to be consistent in the way I do my things, in communicating with this child, not becoming the prefect. I only see the wrong. Stop doing this, stop. I remember at one time my son picked up, my 10-year-old son, then he was younger. He said, and even before I say anything, you said no. and that got me, and I thought, okay, fine. So what did I say no to? So before I say no now, we have a communication. I will say no at the end, but at least we talk. That way, he feels part of the no.
When it comes to engaging them and involving them in the decision process, because I heard a lot of them even saying, well, I also want to take care of myself. Give me some liberties. Trust me. How do the parents do that?
When you are bonding with a child when they are young, now you can gauge the far that they can go because you are working together. And therefore, in the process, you are creating that trust between you and that child, such that the child is in a position to know that freedom is earned. slowly by slowly. So, an a parent, you are conscious that you are training a child to earn their freedom. So that there is that trust that when he tells me I am going out and I'm coming back at 6, it is exactly 6. And if anything happens between then, this child is ready to call and tell me the truth. This is what is happening, such that by the time they are grown up, I don't have a problem because we have already worked together. Now, unfortunately, what we do is instilling fear in children. And you heard one of them talking about, I fear my father. And he is very authoritative, which is very true. Now, that does not bring a good relationship between a child. So instead of instilling fear, we have a close relationship such that there is mutual respect.
Wow, and that usually seems to be the missing link.
Yeah.
And beyond that, I want to engage you on this, Arnold, because we're talking also about the whole idea of it takes a village. And that concept slowly dying in the African context. And you're wondering how? We're the ones who created that. You know? How do we kind of incorporate it in this day and age where we're having people like you, a young man who's gone through that stage but can look out for a younger brother or a younger sister and take the initiative? How do we get more people to do that?
Before it used to be, your parent didn't need to ask for a certain mother to beat your child for doing the wrong thing. You know, they would just they would do it, and then they would bring them to you, and then you would beat, and then the father the same, just the same process that you shared. But now it needs to be where we need to, as the parents, engage at a different level. Where now we are looking for, is there a mentor that I can get for my child for this particular aspect? Because you know, you'll be able to know that if you're able to talk. Because they're still at an identity forming stage, they're still trying to figure out a lot of things. Once you're able to get there, and then now you can be able to think, oh, maybe I can bring a mentor, or maybe I have a friend who does this. Maybe you need to go and experience what that is, and then see whether that's actually where you need to be, or is it what I'm actually thinking as well for you. So it'll help. That's sort of now sort of our bringing back the village idea. It's what we can be able to do in terms of just, is there a mentor around, is there a pastor around, if you go to church, is there someone who you can be able to just bring into that child's life and be able to see how they can be able to move from that point on.
And you know, just as we wrap up, I want to get from each of you the importance of being present, because that was the underlying thing. When I asked, you know, the teens, do you feel you need your parents most now? And they said, yes. More than ever, all the time. So how, as parents, as mentors, can we begin to do that in our own way and show them, I'm here, you know, and you may not have developed that relationship, as you said, maybe from when they were younger. But, and I guess you can touch on that, Lydia, how can they start to form that, even if it may seem like it's too late? But I'll begin with you, Pauline.
I think the one thing we need to do is celebrate them more. Because even as we get, they don't need, even when they say they need us, they don't need us like hand-holding, you know, they need me from a distance, you know. I was saying earlier that I thought at the age of 18, after she's cleared Form 4, I have finished, you know, and I can start, Then suddenly I realize I have to figure out now how to bring up this person. Because again, now there are other things are coming to play. She's gone into this big world where there are no rules, there are no regulations, so there are no bells, there's no teacher to tell her stop, there are no, you know, there's so many other things. So they can, I can sleep more, but you can't sleep the whole day. So again, they need you to, you know, quietly guide them to this. Don't be silent about it.
My parents have always had this reality, we would call it bugging. Just continuously, you know, doing, just poking you in different ways. It wasn't the same way all the time. My dad, several times, he bought a football and took it outside and said, let's play football together. Like, there's nothing really. It's not like, he's really old. He's been there for like the 3 presidents. So he's been around for a while, but he would play football. He would just kick, I kick to him, he kicks back to me, kick to him, kick. And then I noticed at some point he was just kicking off. Like, he wasn't that bad a shot. Like, he was just kicking randomly, and I would run. And something unspoken happens, just in that simple reality. When my mom at times would continuously just state certain things and just continuously say this and say this and say this. Just continuously, consistently. There's some things that I've learned out of just those two things. And many a times, even when I was sharing once, I had the opportunity to share at the adults' church at my church. And one of the things that I realized as I was preparing for that was that one of the things that got me to my faith was actually what my dad did when I was much younger. You know, that he actually, you know, forgave me. You know, he asked for my forgiveness.
Wow.
And so I get this whole understanding of what it means to be forgiven. So when I hit Christ, that's what, it makes sense.
Right.
So, you know, that's just those simple things, those things that you bug and those things that you do, those small things, just once in a while, keep on doing it, it'll work out.
Wow. Wow.
There's something that we need to do as parents. Unfortunately, we do not know what we need to do as parents. He's talking about forgiveness. She's talking about spending quality time with our children. Unfortunately, we are not aware. So what I tell parents is, go for seminars. Be taught. Allow yourself to be taught on how to go about it. Because when you are told how to spend quality time with your children, you go and practice it. Those that were getting lost will come back. Youth mentorship in the church is also very, very important, and church school. Unfortunately, we are waking up to take our children to church school when they're already too big. We should have taken them when they were young.
Amazing. And what a wonderful place to end this. Thank you so much, Pauline, Arnold, and Lydia. But it's true, you have to learn. People don't think I have to learn parenting. It's that one part which is probably the most important, because you're molding a human being and bringing them back into society. How about learn how to do it? And admit that you don't know.
Don't know.
But I hope this session has been helpful to the parents watching, to the teens watching as well. Sit down, get to know each other, each other's faults, be forgiving, love, trust, and be present most of all. Thanks for watching Victoria's Lounge. Thank you to the Radisson Blu Hotel for being such wonderful hosts. As usual, have a wonderful evening, and let's do this again